Hello boys and girls, a very good evening and welcome to this live stream for your IBPS PO exam preparation brought to you by TalentSprint. I hope all of you are healthy and your preparation for this highly competitive IBPS PO preliminary examination, which is scheduled to begin on the 7th of October, is in high gear. Remember, we have just about 40 days left for this examination, or at least for the first slot of this examination, and I think it's high time that you gear up, pull up your socks and leave no stone unturned and ensure that you give your best possible in these remaining days so that you can maximize your chances of selection in the examination. Alright, now I'm here to discuss something interesting again today, which can probably help you in your IBPS PO examination. I'm using the word probably because you never know what learning or what concept will come handy and useful in the exam, right? Now today's discussion is going to be on the concept of consecutive numbers, right? Now there are different types of questions that can be asked in consecutive numbers. We will be looking at one very interesting question type and see how can you solve it using a smart method without having to do much of paperwork, right? But before that, let me mention that the IBPS RRB admit cards have been released. So if you have applied for the IBPS RRB exam, ensure that you download your admit card, get to know your date of examination and strategize your preparation for the last few days accordingly, right? And however, anything that we discussed today for IBPS PO exam will also be helpful for all the other exams, including the IBPS RRB exam, right? So I think one learning for multiple exams. I mean, that's the advantage in most of the competitive exams which involves aptitude and reasoning and English language, right? I mean, be it bank exams or SSC, the syllabus is largely the same. So it's important, I mean, because of this fact, it is important that you apply for almost all of these exams, right? And, leave nothing unattempted, right? I mean, you never know which one will get you your dream job, right? Anyway, so back to the discussion about consecutive numbers. Now, I'm sure all of you know what consecutive numbers are, right? Consecutive numbers are those which have a regular interval between them, right? I mean, just spaced out equally. Like for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are consecutive numbers. I mean, these are, to be more specific, called consecutive natural numbers. Then there can be consecutive even numbers. What are consecutive even numbers? Example, 34, 36, 38, 40. These are consecutive even numbers, right? There can be any number of numbers in the sequence, but they have to be consecutive, right? One after the other without missing out on anything. Now, because these are consecutive even numbers, we only look at even numbers, right? We jump the odd ones. Similarly, consecutive odd numbers, right? What are consecutive odd numbers? Example can be 91, 93, 95, 97, 99, 101 and so on, right? These are all odd numbers which come one after the other. So there can be questions based on these consecutive numbers. What type of questions? The question can be based on average of consecutive numbers, or the question can be based on some some number theory type of a question using consecutive numbers, etc. Right? So I think one very important fundamental point that you all need to understand is about the average of consecutive numbers. Be it consecutive natural numbers or consecutive odd numbers or consecutive even numbers or a consecutive series of numbers like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 and so on. These are consecutive multiples of 3, right? Or 17, 34, 51, 68, 85 and so on. These are consecutive multiples of 17. So any series of consecutive numbers which has that flow in it, right, the pattern in it, will have the average lying exactly in the middle of it. So the point that I'm trying to make is the average of consecutive numbers is always the centermost number, the number which is exactly in the middle of these numbers, right? So for example, if you have, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is the average of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 3. 5 numbers in sequence. All of these are consecutive numbers. The centermost number, or the number that is exactly in the middle, is the average. Exactly in the middle is the average. I'm sure most of you know about this concept already, right? So similarly for consecutive odd numbers, let's say consecutive odd numbers like 33, 35, 37, 39, 41. What is the average of these 5 odd numbers, consecutive odd numbers? Now you don't really have to follow the average formula, right? Sum of all the values by number of values. So 33 plus 35 plus 37 plus 39 plus 41 by 5. No. It's a waste of time. Since these numbers are consecutive, average has to be the number which lies in the middle. Now 33, 35, 37, 39, 41. Which is the one that lies in the middle? 37. So 37 will be the average of these numbers. Like is the case for consecutive even numbers or consecutive multiples of any value. right? So basically the average of consecutive numbers always lies in the middle. Now what happens if there is no unique middle number? Like in all the examples that we have taken so far, if you recall, the number of numbers were always odd. There were odd number of numbers, 5 numbers or 3 numbers or 7 numbers. Like if I say, what is the average of 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17? So 11 to 17 are 7 numbers, odd number of numbers, 7 numbers, right? Odd number of numbers. So there will be a unique number in the middle, which is 14. So average is 14. But what if there are even number of numbers? Like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. What is the average of 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16? How many numbers? Only 6 numbers. Now when there is a series of 6 numbers, is there a centermost number? No. There's no number which lies exactly in the middle there. Both 14 and 15 occupy the, I think 13 and 14 occupy the middle positions, right? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 13 and 14 are towards the center. What you have to do in this case, since there is no unique average, since there is no unique middle number, take the average of these two numbers, average of these two middle numbers. Or what exactly comes between 13 and 14? What comes exactly between 13 and 14? 13.5. So average of 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 will be 13.5. You're able to follow. Similarly, let's say we have to find out the average of some consecutive even numbers like 24, 26, 28, 30. 24, 26, 28, 30. These are consecutive numbers, 24, 26, 28, 30. Is there one middle number, one common middle number? No. There's no such number there. But there are two numbers which are lying in the middle. 24, 26, 28 and 30. 26 and 28 are towards the center. What comes exactly between 26 and 28? 27. So 27 will be the average of these 4 consecutive numbers. So the basic principle is that the average for consecutive numbers is always the one that comes exactly in the middle of that series. Now it can be a unique number which is already sitting there, or you have to take the average of the two numbers which are towards which are towards the center. That's the idea. Look at a few examples yourself, calculate the average in the regular way, and then see if it is really matching or not, right? You will learn how it works. Now that we have discussed about consecutive numbers, how to find out the average of consecutive numbers, let's take an example on the same. Not exactly on the average of consecutive numbers, because that's really very easy, but let's take an interesting question based on consecutive numbers. So what I'll do now is share my screen with you all, write down the question for you, give you like 30 seconds to try that, and then discuss the smart way of answering that interesting question based on consecutive numbers. So here we go. So let's say the question on consecutive numbers is as follows. It says if the sum of 4 consecutive odd numbers is what? Sum of 4 consecutive odd numbers, let's say, is 96. What will be the sum of the next 4 consecutive odd numbers? Now don't really expect such questions in your exam. You may not get the same type of a question in your IBPS exam, because this looks like a simple one, right? Unless you have you're new to this, it is actually an easy question. But the concept is important. What we are trying to learn here is a concept. You cannot come back and say that this is a very simple one and these kind of questions are not asked in IBPS exam these days. Yeah, I know the question is not relevant to your IBPS exam, but the concept is important. So this is based on consecutive numbers, right? Sorry. So try and solve this while I'll do the decoration on top with the heading and all. Try to solve this. It says sum of 4 consecutive odd numbers is 96. What will be the sum of the next 4 consecutive odd numbers? Get the answer? This is the question, right? The sum of 4 consecutive odd numbers is 96. What will be the sum of the next 4 consecutive odd numbers? Okay, we have already got some answers here. I think Saikat Mitra has got 128, and I'm sure others are trying it out. So basically, how does this work? See, consecutive numbers can be taken as x, x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3, and so on, right? If these are consecutive numbers, right? But we are talking about consecutive odd numbers. How do you represent consecutive odd numbers? The consecutive odd numbers or consecutive even numbers can be taken as x, x plus 2, x plus 4, x plus 6 and so on. See, consecutive odd numbers means what? You know that the difference between any two consecutive odd numbers is 2, right? If the first number is x, the next number would be plus 2. The next number would be plus 2 to the previous number, and then the next one will be plus 2 to the previous one. So x, x plus 2, x plus 2 plus 2, which is x plus 4, x plus 4 plus 2, which is x plus 6. Like for example, if you say the numbers are, let's say 11, 13, 15, 17, right? So if this is like x, this is x plus 2, 11 plus 2. This is x plus 4, 11 plus 4. This is x plus 6, 11 plus 6. Yeah, that's the idea. So consecutive odd numbers are represented as x, x plus 2, x plus 4, x plus 6. Now, the regular way of solving the question is as follows. He says the sum of 4 consecutive odd numbers is 96, which means the sum of these 4 values is 96. So solve for it. X plus 2 plus x plus 4 plus x plus 6 equals to 96. Yes or no? We are trying to get the sum of these 4 numbers here. Yeah? What does it give us? 4 x's, so 4x plus 2 and 4 is 6, 6 and 6 is 12. 4x plus 12 equals to 96. From this, 4x comes out to be 96 minus 12, which is 84, or x comes out to be 21. So the first odd number is 21. See, these are the odd numbers according to us, right? X, x plus 2, x plus 4 and x plus 6. So the first odd number is 21. What will be the next odd number? 23. 21 plus 2. Then the next one, 25. And the next one, 27. So 21 plus 23, 44. 44 plus 25 is 69. 69 plus 27 is 96. So the sum of these 4 numbers is 96. What is he asking us to find out? What will be the sum of next 4 consecutive odd numbers? The next 4 consecutive odd numbers. So if these are 4 consecutive odd numbers, what are the next 4 consecutive odd numbers? What comes after this? After 27, the next numbers are 29, 31, 33 and 35. Yes or no? What follows 27? The next 4 consecutive odd numbers are 29, 31, 33 and 35. So the first step is to evaluate what the numbers are, what the 4 numbers are, then get the next 4 numbers and find out the sum. He's asking us to get the sum of these numbers. Now find out the sum of these numbers. 29 plus 31 is 60. 60 plus 33 is 93. 93 plus 35 will be 128. So we can say the sum is 128. And that should be the answer. The sum of next 4 odd numbers should be 128. But is this really the best way to solve the question? No. Answer is correct. No doubt the answer is correct. 128 is the correct answer. But you cannot be spending so much of time and putting up so many steps on paper for solving this question in the exam. So how do you do it in a smart way? Right? How do you deal with this kind of a question on consecutive numbers in a smart way? See, try and understand. Simple logic here is as follows. The numbers were 21, 23, 25, 27. The technique goes as follows. You know that what will be the next 4 numbers? What comes after 27 will be 29. Then 31, then 33, and then 35. Now, why am I kind of making pairs here? 21, 29, 23, 31, 25, 33, and 27, 35. These are the 4 numbers for which the sum is given as 96. We have to find out the sum of next 4 numbers. The observation is the difference between these pairs. You see 21 difference 29, 8. Or 31 difference 23, 8. 33 minus 25, 8. 35 minus 27, 8. The difference between every pair here is 8. And how many such pairs do we have? 4 pairs. So how many such differences do we have? 4 differences of 8 each. So 4 times 8 is 32. So basically, the difference between the first set and the second set is going to be 32. So how will you get the result? Simply 96 plus 32, 128. Now, you might be wondering that because we know the numbers are 21, 23, 25, 27, we are able to find out the differences as 8. In each case, like 29, 31, 33, 35, and then we take the differences to be 8. So that's why the technique is working. No, whatever be these 4 consecutive odd numbers, the sum of next 4 consecutive odd numbers will be 32 more than the previous sum. You can take any, any pair of, any 4 consecutive odd numbers. You're getting it? Basically, how does it work? I mean, if you have to generalize this technique, let me get some space for myself here, right? If I have to generalize the whole technique, how does it work? Take the numbers as x, x plus 2, x plus 4 and x plus 6, like what we have done here. No need to do all this drama in the exam. Yeah. Look at the general technique. Look at this. So if you have to generalize this, it's like this. Numbers are x, x plus 2, x plus 4, x plus 6. I mean, the fact that we are taking x, x plus 2, x plus 4, x plus 6 means that this can be any 4 consecutive odd numbers. What will be the set of next 4 numbers? After x plus 6, we'll get x plus 8. then we get x plus 10, then we get x plus 12, and then we get x plus 14. Try to look at the differences. This is the second lot. Difference between x and x plus 8 is 8. X plus 2 and x plus 10, 8 again, and 8 again, and 8 again. So this goes to show that whatever be the set of numbers, the difference between each pair is always going to be 8, and there will be 4 such pairs. So 4 times 8, 32. So if you know the sum, first sum is given as s, let's say in the question, the next sum should be s plus 32. That's your answer. S plus 32 is your answer. So if you were a smart student, what would you do? You'll simply say 96 plus 32, 128 is the answer. Without putting pen on paper, without having to write a single step on paper, 96 plus 32, 128 is the answer. Now, before I close the session, let me also mention that you don't have to generalize it to the extent that always 32 has to be added. No, it depends on the number of numbers. Since there are 4 numbers here, the difference is coming out to be 8. If there are 5 numbers, the difference between each pair comes out to be 10. How is this 8 arrived at? See, we have jumped from x to x plus 8. We have jumped how many consecutive numbers? 1, 2, 3, and then 4. When you move from x to x plus 8, this is the first odd number. This is the fifth odd number. Look at the sequence. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. So from first odd number, you are going to fifth odd number, which means you have jumped how many odd numbers? 4 odd numbers. Now by jumping each pair, you get 2. By jumping 4 pairs, you'll get 8. That's how we are getting 8. But suppose if you jump 5 pairs, you'll get 10. So instead of 4 odd numbers, let's say if it is given as 5 and next 5, then what happens? You know that the difference will be 10 in each pair, and there will be 5 such pairs. So 5 times 10. Like here we are doing 4 times 8, 32. In that case it will be 5 times 10, 50. So to the given sum s, add 50, s plus 50 will be the final answer. Of course, in that case the sum cannot be 96 because sum of 5 consecutive odd numbers cannot be an even number. It has to be an odd number, but whatever be the value, if it is s here, the next 5 consecutive odd number sum will be s plus 50. Similarly, let's say if there are only 3 consecutive numbers, then the difference between each pair will be 6. And there will be how many such pairs? 3 such pairs. So 6 times 3, 18. Add 18 and you'll get the answer. So I think this is one question type which is interesting, and if you work smartly, you can avoid all these steps. You don't have to write even a single step on paper, right? All this in my view is a waste of time. Yeah, you can just avoid all this. You simply take the number 96, add 32 to it to get the final answer. That's the only step you have to look at, right? So if you be smart, then you can solve these questions without putting pen on paper. Yeah, so I think practice a few more questions based on the same concept. Like I said, you may not expect a similar question in your exam, IBPS exam, but the concept is important, and this concept may be useful in some other question, right? You know that these days in SBI and IBPS exams, different concepts are being clubbed to frame a particular question, right? If a question is asked, it's not directly on time and distance. It can involve time and distance with something from profit and loss, or with something from time and work, or with something on number systems, let's say, or number theory. So there, if consecutive numbers are involved, these concepts will really be very useful, right? So I think practice, that's the key. The more you practice, the easier it gets, right? So practice on a few more questions on consecutive numbers, and I'm sure you'll find it very easy to solve these questions in the exam. Yeah. So I hope all of you have enjoyed this webinar on the concept of consecutive numbers. There's a lot that can be discussed, a lot of questions can be solved, but we have limited time, and this is just to give you a preview of what can be done if you work smartly. If you'd like to know more about consecutive numbers, you're always welcome to look at the videos that we have on consecutive numbers in our TalentSprint's bank exam preparation program, right? I'm sure students who are enrolled for our program would know about all these things already, or they have access to such videos, which are like 1038 videos, right? 1038 videos on all the different concepts across quantitative aptitude or reasoning or English or any subject on bank exam prep. And if you wish to explore our programs, you can visit our website, which is talentsprint.com/bank. Yeah, talentsprint.com/bank to know details about our online preparation programs for bank and SSC exams preparation, right? Which are being used by like some 36,000 students across the country, and I'm sure you can also get the benefit of joining this online platform. So the choice is yours. I would not say that you should join TalentSprint only. Whatever coaching you join, ensure that you practice, because that is the key. The more you practice, the easier it gets. And start your preparation now if you haven't done it already, because time is just flying by. You have only about 45 I think less than 45 days, 40 days, around 40 days left for your IBPS PO examination, right? So you have to act now so that you can improve your chances of selection, right? On that note, let me close it here. Thank you all for joining us. Please share your valuable feedback and join us again tomorrow around the same time to learn about yet another interesting concept on quantitative aptitude or reasoning ability. Till then, keep practicing and take very good care of yourselves. Bye.